From Canhammer, and today I'm going to do a vlog on sort of like what my experiences were at the Renegade Open and just how well I did during the events. Hey everyone, it's Andrew here from Canhammer, and today I'm at the Crowne Plaza, Minneapolis, where the Renegade Open's going on. Let's check out the room I'm going to be playing in this weekend. So this is the Batman room. They're just setting up now. We still got a little bit of time before registration first round start, but let's check out the tables. So we got like the sweet Ace Chemicals table, the Circus. No, you can talk, it's fine.
Are you going to keep track of
sweet Circus table, like a shipping container table.
Just for, because I know you said that.
That's a good question, and I did not think
Couple
of that.
cityscapes.
I know you said that at one point.
Today will be the 350 rep games. So it's a two-list system. If you saw the last vlog for Batman, you pick two lists, and at the beginning of the game, you and your opponent sort of pick one in secret, and that will be the crew you use for that game. So it should be interesting to see what everyone else brings. I hear there's a lot of society at this event. Like I said, the new hotness at the moment though, so that's to be expected. Everyone wants to play with the cool toys. Other than that, it should be a good day. It's 4 games, so it's going to be a long day of hardcore fights in the streets of Gotham. But it should be fun. I'll keep you updated on how my games go at least, and hopefully we'll have some interviews and stuff later on as well. So, see you in the next part. Alright, so this year I was really lucky to be able to attend the Renegade Open held in Minneapolis. This is like sort of a whole gaming convention, so they got like a bunch of tournaments, a few, I guess, narrative games and campaigns, and also they had like a small vendor hall and stuff. So this was like a full-on convention held at a Crowne Plaza. I came down to attend the 2 Batman tournaments they were running. So day 1 they had, well, I guess Friday was day 1. They had open gaming, but then on Saturday they had a 350 rep Batman event, and then on the Sunday they had a smaller 250 rep event. The main thing I gotta say about both of these events is Stefan, who I do have a small interview with, which will probably be at the end of this video. He did such an amazing job setting everything up. Everything ran super smooth. The event was a 2-list event, so I got my lists here. I'm just gonna probably be referencing them every once in a while. 2-list event, so how that works is you rock up to your table for your first game, or whatever game. You show your opponent both lists, then you take them back, you pick one in secret, your opponent does the same, and then you both show at the same time to show what list you chose. This is the first time I've ever actually been to an event that used this sort of method to do things, and I gotta say, like, going forward, at least for events I run, I'm probably going to use this. It added that sort of like small little layer of I guess choice or tactics at the beginning of the game. I don't know how well based on results I didn't do that well, but just knowing that I had that choice to maybe switch things up, or if I did come up against an opponent that maybe my like main list wasn't good at, I could have had the choice to you know, pick that second list that was sort of fundamentally different. And to be honest, a lot of the time after my games, at least the ones that I didn't do too well in, I thought to myself, you know, I probably would have done better if I had this other list, or used the other list. Not to take anything away from my opponents, like the ones that beat me it wasn't because I took the bad list. It was just they played better than I did. But yeah, so Stefan did an amazing job with that. The first event, the 350 rep, had something like 28 players, which is really impressive. It's really awesome to see that many people out just playing Batman. The second day, I guess a few people had to leave, so we're only down to 18, but still, that was a fun event as well. I will be interspersing sort of pictures as I talk. One of the great things about the Renegade was just how amazing every single table was. Like, every table had, you know, tons of terrain. A lot of them were very different too. Like, at least around here, a lot of our events are, most of our tables are just city, street, Gotham scenes, but Stefan was able to pull together enough terrain. I think a bunch of people came and helped him out too. I know a couple people brought tables for him, but like, he had a circus board, or 2 circus boards. He had one that was like sort of like the inside of Ace Chemicals. He had one that was like the inside of the Batcave and stuff. So it was kind of nice to play on tables that weren't just city streets all the time, and sort of switch it up and have different tables to play on. Now, I did post a lot of the pictures of the tables up online, and there was, I guess, a bit of concern from people who weren't there about how sparse they look in the pictures. For one thing, the pictures didn't really do justice to see how much like line of sight blocking stuff was there. But also, a lot of the bigger open spaces were done purposefully to help facilitate the movement of like large and huge base models. Because a lot of the, I guess, like very early second ed boards and first ed boards, the idea was to just pack on as much terrain as you could. But now that there's been like this sort of huge proliferation of large and huge base models, you got to sort of take that into mind that they might not be able to maneuver as much. That being said, there was still, like, I ran for my main list for most of my games like a straight up gun line, and my opponents never really had too much problems finding pings or taking cover or just getting out of line of sight. So it wasn't as bad as the pictures make it look, and I don't think I heard anyone there complaining about that problem at all, or any complaints to begin with. Yeah, other than that, gotta say, excuse me, Stefan's prize pool was amazing for both events. Unfortunately, I only have a picture of the 350 event, which I'll put up now-ish, right here. I'll probably be all over the place. Which was amazing. Everyone got to walk away with something, regardless of where you placed, and I placed second from the bottom, spoiler alert. So I still walked away with a couple goodies, and it was just super awesome to see all those people there playing the game. So I guess with that, let's check out how my first game went. So how this will work is I took sort of 1-minute clips after each of my games, and then I'll probably just talk about it a little bit more after each one to sort of flesh out what happened. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to film any bat reps, so there won't be any of those coming out from the Renegade. But if you are interested, the Boy Wonders have a YouTube channel as well as their podcast, and they streamed all 3 days, like the top table, and the first day was just pickup games. But my first game, day 1, so the 350 event, is actually the first one on their stream. I was lucky enough to play on that the Gotham, or the Batcave table, which is the one they were streaming all weekend. So if you want to check that out, I'll post a link for the day I played on, and I'm the first game of that day. So if you guys want to see how my game went for that, you can watch it there. So with that, I guess we'll just check out my next game. Alright, so just finished round 1. I got to play on this sweet Batcave table. And it will be live streamed by the Boy Wonders as well, so you can probably look that up online. I guess it'll be after the fact when you guys see this, but had a great game against Mr. John here. He brought the Brave and the Bold with Bat Family, sorry, with new Big Bats, Red Hood, and Nightwing over here. It was a pretty intense game, but in the end I only got 19 points, while John pulled away with 37, so pretty big defeat. That Batman's really scary, and my crew didn't really have much to deal with it, although I was able to take out Red Hood with Constantine and a lot of fire counters. Fire counters are disgusting. So I guess we'll be back for round 2 here at the Renegade. Alright, so yeah, based on that, you know, I lost. This one was cool. John had Brave and the Bold family. Sorry, I have his list up on the computer over there. Or sorry, Bat Family. This was the first time I've ever faced Bat Family. I gotta say, it was really interesting to see them on the board. Now, he opted to use the big, huge Anniversary Batman, which was a model I was kind of scared of facing to begin with. Just I wasn't really sure in my head how to deal with them, and it turned out I still don't. So his list was Batman Anniversary. He had the upgraded Batsuit and handcuffs. Then he took Nightwing with handcuffs and Red Hood with reconnaissance. This one, yeah, I sort of just deployed in like a little clump around some terrain to hopefully mitigate that Batman Anniversaries thing where he can just start in base contact with a model and then sort of knock him down and beat him up. It kind of worked out in my favor, although I think he was able to take out Loretta in that game fairly quickly, which wasn't cool. Now, I tried to just ignore Batman and sort of scattered a bit and go for my objectives, and it worked out somewhat. Nightwing was sort of playing defense against like my stuff. Although I was lucky in the way that the scenario was, so we were able to deploy like objectives in the middle, which meant I didn't have to go as far. So I kind of left like Sierra, O'Connell, and a couple other just like losers out back, and Batman was just using up his turns, knocking them out and arresting them. Which kind of sucked, and I tried to rush my objectives. Constantine had a little bit of a tussle with Red Hood, and I think I finally took him out. Based on the casualty points I received, it looks like I did take him out, 88 points. And that would have been Constantine's work. Unfortunately, like you saw in that in my quicker recap, though, I did get crushed. So the final points was 19 to 37. I think John played it basically as best as he could. I mean, he beat me, but like his strategy was pretty damn sound, was just sort of keep me on my toes right from the beginning. And again, this is one of those games where maybe I should have brought my second list, the one with Nightwing and Red Hood, just because it's really, you really can't shoot Batman, and I brought a gun line against him, and he played it so well that he always kept like Nightwing and Red Hood far enough away that they were at least getting pings if I could even see them at all, which really helped him out. And he just ended up racking up a ton of points from like arresting the majority of my crew, I believe, plus just being able to get onto his objectives in the middle as well and rack up points very quickly. So I mean, I didn't do super horrible, I guess, against that crew. I mean, I got 19 points out of them, so it wasn't just a complete like shutout, but I probably could have done that better. One thing that did happen in this game, and I want to mention, it's the first time I've ever pulled this off, but Loretta was dead, and Constantine was sort of too far away to get to, I think it was my Titan objective, but I did have movement counters on Constantine. It's the first time I've ever done this, and I thought it was kind of funny. I ran Constantine up as far as he could, and then I resurrected Loretta on my Titan counter, so he was able to score the points off of that, even though Loretta would have had no activation from it. So I thought that was funny, and it was the first time I've ever pulled off like some weird little combo like that, which I thought was cute. I think Loretta ended up dying right after, though, because Nightwing came and beat him up again, but I thought it was funny. So yeah, that was that game. John was an amazing opponent, super chill. I know that day I was a little bit hungover from the festivities from Friday night, but no, he played it awesome, and it was kind of fitting too. We got to play it on that the Batcave board, so it was like Gordon and the cops are right in the Batcave, I guess, against something Batman did. And also, if you do want to check out that game, like I said before, the link for the live stream of that day's events will be on the Boy Wonders channel, and my game is the first one of that day. So if you guys want to check that out, it's worth the watch, and it's worth going over to check out those guys' stuff anyway. They got a really great podcast. So I guess with that, we'll check out my second game. All right, just finished up round 2 here. Played against Jason and his really cool Nightmare Batman cop crew with like Catwoman stuff. We did get patrol for this mission, so we did start really far apart. And it was basically a shootout in the center, and then sort of push its way back here while I slipped across the board.
That mission was more against me.
With Constantine and O'Connell, yeah.
Constantine. I had cops from Constantine. He was going snap, snap, snap.
Yeah, it was rough. Constantine did a lot of work in the back and allowed me to sort of push in and lock down the backside, whereas here I just sort of kept all my cops back. In the end, it was a major victory for me, but a good game against Jason. He's a good sport, and it was pretty fun. I guess other than that, we will be breaking though, but we are having a quick painting competition. So people are setting up their crews now for quick paint judging and stuff. And
Sorry, boy.
And yeah, so we'll be back after round 3. Alright, so for my second game, as you guys saw, I played against Jason. He had a Brave and the Bold crew. So his crew was Nightmare Batman, Catwoman from the Sirens box, Quick Response 2 and 3, Loretta with a Whistle and SWAT Special Training, Agent O'Connell, and the GC female cop. This one I also ran the Gordon crew because I kind of just used the Gordon crew for everything, even though maybe not my best choice for all my games. This one it seemed to work out though, so we were playing on the cool inside of the Ace Chemicals plant, so there's like a bunch of sort of spilled glowy pools of toxic waste. I'll actually just throw up a picture of the board. I think I got one. And this mission was one of the corner deployments. Not my favorite to do, but we placed enough sewers down that it wasn't too huge of a problem. Again, Nightmare Batman was another one that I wasn't sure of like how to deal with. It's one I haven't faced, and no one around like my area really plays him, so it was interesting to see him in action. I think Jason unfortunately overextended Batman just a bit. Like he sort of held back with all of his cops trying to defend his objectives, but sort of sent Batman and Catwoman up alone. Eventually his QRT 3 came up. No, QRT 2 with the stupid carbine came up sort of to help out, but at that point, like I sort of just had done the same thing he had done, but on my side of the board. I did send, I think it was O'Connell and Constantine through a sewer to go over and get my objectives, and they sort of cleaned up the back end of his defenses. I think there was female cop and sniper QRT back there. And his own O'Connell, I think, was back there defending as well. And sort of Constantine, with all his magic shenanigans, was able to deal with most of that himself. And then O'Connell was there to arrest anyone that sort of was still alive. So I was able to jump on my ammo and medic supplies for a lot of that game. And that's sort of what gave me that big lead. Plus, he had taken the bat signal, and he just wasn't able to get to it until like almost last round, and then when he did, he sort of moved off the bat signal with his Nightmare Batman, and I was able to just go in and turn it off again. And he kind of placed Batman in a bad spot where he was just sort of surrounded by like all of my gun guys who had still had a bit of ammo left, so they were just sort of laying into him, even with, you know, a lot of his abilities. It just, I don't think it went too well. I forget exactly what I took out, but I did get 240 rep off of him, so I think I might have actually killed Batman in that as well, or at least knocked him out and then arrested him. Again, that Batman's really cool, but I think he needs the support of all of his henchmen as well, and that's sort of what let Jason down, was he just sort of rushed him in alone a little bit too ahead of the rest of the cavalry that was coming up with him. So I mean, it was a good game. This map did have like special rules for the spilled Ace chemicals, but we opted not to use it for that, just because I think it would have made the game a lot worse, especially with the placement of where, because we chose corner deployment, like the corner that he would have had to place his objectives in had like just huge puddles everywhere, so it would have been really hard for him to place his objectives otherwise, and that would have, you know, not been very fair. So we just opted not to use that. But Jason was a great opponent, super chill. I think he's really into the game, as far as I can tell. I kind of meet him at like every con I go to, so like Adepticon both years, and then here at Renegade. So it's good seeing him again, and if you're watching, how's it going, buddy? So I guess with that, we'll go into my third game.
Alright, stand to turn 3. We ended up playing Dirty Money. I was on the opposite side of the board, and my opponent, Joshua, brought this really nice Joker crew and totally pushed my shit in with it. He took fast advance, so his crew is really close, and they're made to be like very close combat oriented, and mine wasn't. I chose to take the Gordon list again. Also, I clumped all my dudes together, not very smartly, and he was able to place 2 Joker canisters, basically, so at least everyone was hit once, and a couple guys were hit twice, so it really put the pressure on me, and I sort of panicked and spread out. And he was able to get the 2 middle objectives, which gave him a pretty big lead every turn, whereas I was sort of always on the back foot for points back in my deployment zone. After that, his high security henchman snuck in using hidden, correct?
Yes.
And undercover, and got behind Gordon and sort of shanked him in the back line, and then took out Larita, I believe, as well. So really intense game. High scoring for Joshua. I think it was 35 to my 11. 33 to 11. So yeah. But fun game, and I guess we'll see you in the 4th round.
All right. So for my third game, as you saw, I played against Josh. He had a Joker crew. So his Joker crew was the Killing Joke Joker, which is really awesome. High security henchman with a grapple gun, improvised armor and clown paint. Then you had the 2 dogs, Bud and Lou. Then you had master ceremonies with all the toys, so grapple gun, neurotoxic drugs, clown paint, and then you had a shield clown with the rare nth metal medallion. Again, I opted to use my Gordon Constantine list. At the same time, again, probably should have ran the other crew, although this one was a little different. So this one was I want to say money bags, but that's not the one. It's the one with the 2 objectives in the center that are worth 3 victory points, and then you place the rest as normal. He opted to take patrol twice. The one that extends your the strategy that extends your deployment zone, I don't think it's patrol. You guys get the gist though if you know Batman. So he was right in my grill super early with a really tough like close combat list, and stupidly on my part, I deployed right on the line of my deployment zone as well, just thinking like whatever, I'll shoot him on the way in. But I wasn't really prepared for how fast his whole crew was. You know, the high security with the grapple gun, and master ceremonies with the grapple gun as well. They were able to just like move off the board and get in my face super quick, as well as like Clayface. He's a large model, huge model, whatever. He's super quick as well, and was just able to sort of overwhelm me right off the bat. And I wasn't really prepared for that. It really threw me off. Constantine did start getting a bit of work in on Joker, but then the shield clown with the medallion really shut down a lot of my magic, so Constantine was basically not doing what he should, and with only attack 3 on Constantine, like his other good thing is he has the lighter, so he can get hits in and then torch characters.
but that didn't work out in my favor. And he was really good at rotating out models, so he'd like send in some guys to fight. I think it was the dogs, and I'd shoot them or like fight them in close combat and get a bit of damage on them. But then he'd just like switch them out for a new model in the fight, so I was never actually like getting models killed. I mean, in this one, it looks like all I killed was Master of Ceremonies. I got 36 opponent casualty points off of Josh. And I know this game he killed the majority of my crew. I think all I had left was Gordon and maybe like one cop. I know he killed Constantine. Yeah, it was a rough game. Maybe the Arkham Guard lived. One cool thing though that he did, and it was sort of like thematic, I'd placed O'Connell and the Arkham Guard sort of next to a bus, next to a building, so they were sort of like boxing in a corner. And he had rushed in Clayface and sort of pinned them both down, and then went into liquid form. So that's the thing that where if you try to like move away, you have to spend like a bunch of counters and then still try to pass a test. And it was really, I guess, like thematic that like this wave of like mud and clay just like pins in the two guards while he's just beating down on them. It was cool. Josh was another great character, or player. His character, I guess. He actually came all the way from California, so he even traveled farther than me to get to this thing. And it was really cool meeting him, and I actually got to play him the second day as well. It was at this point in the event, though, that I kind of missed not having Joker for the tournament. Like, leading up to this tournament, I'd been playing mostly Joker, if you saw, like, my last couple bat reps and the next one coming out. So that's the one I was most, I guess, used to using. The one I was most practiced up on. I decided to take this just because I figured I'd do better, but it was at sort of like this point in the day where I'm like, shit, man, seeing Joker on the table again and just how cool he is, like I kind of wish I brought a Joker list instead, but I don't regret it. And again, Josh played it like amazing. He just knew sort of how to get to my stuff. He had all of his models where they need to be, and he was able to lock down the middle of the board and generate a shit ton of victory points just off of those the two scenario objectives. And yeah, it was a great game, and I guess that's it for that one. So we'll see you for the last round. Alright, here we are, end of round 4. Just played against Mr. Chris and his super dirty Ivy list. It's not that bad actually, but
Super generic.
Super generic Ivy list. But last round was scrimmage. Just, I guess, round 4 they're gonna give us a break and tone it down a bit. I ended up running the Red Hood and Nightwing list. I lost pretty bad. I started off strong and I took off like a few of his security people. He has a bunch of just the generic Black Gator henchmen, so I killed a bunch of them, but he started chipping away at me, and then Avi went on a kissing rampage and took out Nightwing and QRT number 3 with her kiss move, and he just sort of took the lead in points and got away. But it was a really great game, super chill. We rushed and finished our game in like almost an hour, whereas everyone else is still plugging away. So that was how round 3 went. Round 4 went. Super fun game, and we'll be back for the end of the ceremonies for day 1. Alright, so for the last one, as you saw, I played against Chris, really great opponent, amazing painter, and another one of the guys that I kind of just run into at events. So I met him first time last year at Adepticon where we got to play, and then we got to play again this weekend, which was awesome. He brought the Sirens list, so we had Poison Ivy from the Sirens box, Harley Quinn from the Sirens box, Catwoman from the Sirens box, High Security Henchman with Mutant Alterations and Mutation Serum. He had Grotti, Gustav, Prisoner number 3 with Corrosive Blood, and that is it. Oh, and Prisoner number 1. This one was just straight up skirmish, I believe. Again, I didn't do so well. But this time I opted to take list 2, and I'm kind of happy I did. Even though I lost, I think it was the best choice for the situation. I was able to take out a lot of his prisoners. I think I got Grotti, High Security, and another one. I got 74 points off him. So maybe that was it. Oh, and Pipe Prisoner, that's it. So I wasn't... The guns did good. Red Hood sort of did his work and defended a certain edge of the board. I tried going through the sewers to get to my objectives, but he kept Poison Ivy back, and I figured, okay, whatever, like I'd be able to deal with her. Not so much. She actually went on a huge kissing spree and took out, I believe, Nightwing, Quick Response, the girl I sent her through, so she got her. And then the other Quick Response guy, the one with Quick Response 1, spent a lot of the game just trying to fight her off. I think it was like 2 or 3 rounds of she'd try to like hit and kiss Quick Response 1, and then he'd fight her off. Like I'd get the defense on her because she's only attack 3, so it's not too hard to defend against her. And then I'd like kind of swing twice and hopefully try to stop her. And eventually I'd been kind of whittling her away slowly, and there was a point where if Quick Response 1 got all of his attacks through and did the damage, I would have taken her out. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, so once I failed that attack, I just kind of ran away through a sewer and left her on the back of the board because it wasn't going to happen. But at that point, I'd lost her Nightwing to Ivy. And a lot of my punch was gone. And then he, with Catwoman and Harley, he was able to move up the board really quick and jump on his own objectives. So yeah, at the end of the day, in that game, I only came out with 17 to his 36, so another major loss for me. But I gotta say, that was a super fun game. We were laughing the whole time. He was throwing up, like, I think poison and stuff on me, and I was putting fire on a couple of his dudes. But yeah, a really great game. It's always fun to play that guy as well, Chris. It's good seeing him. And yeah, I guess that's it for day 1 of the Renegade Open. Again, super impressed by that, and I guess I'll show you the beginning of the award ceremony. I sort of cut it off after like the third place thing because it kind of just dragged on. The way it was set up was everyone got a prize. Like that prize pool was huge. There was 28 players, so how he was doing it was first person gets to pick something, and then so on and so forth, and then I'd go back to the top. So the award ceremony does kind of drag on, but yeah, it was cool. Like I got a couple things out of it. I was able to go up like twice, I think. And then I'll have an interview with Stefan, and then in a separate video I'll do sort of a similar thing to this with the day 2 stuff. That one should be a little bit quicker. But yeah, so I guess with that, I'll see you in the next video, and enjoy the awards and interview with Stefan.
So, we can get started on a few other things first. So, for the painting competition, 13 people put out their fully painted crews, and one randomly determined person did win a prize, and that is going to be a new Firefly, which is going to go to the Joker crew that is purple and green and yellow. Chris Nelson.
I'm the numbers guy. It's like that meme that there's numbers going on his name.
As determined by a panel of judges. And I have nothing. This is a beautiful man. This is great. So best painted at Nightfall 2 Renegade Open 2018 gets a brand new King Shark and
here I have black.
Thank you for having my back. That's going to go to Chris Broska. prizes if you don't mind. Oh yeah. Out of the bag.
Which crew? Just get a picture of everybody together at the end of that present.
Yeah.
I mean the Goyles.
The Goyles. Handsome devil. And we started a new tradition at our last, the first Boy Wonder Invitational back in June, which is furthest travel. Can anyone beat 1,997 miles?
Like England, Blaine's a long way.
Like 20, probably. I think we've got.
Madrid.
You drove like 7 hours. You're fine. Sit down.
I drove longer.
8 hours. Well, are you further away than San Diego, California?
No, but who's further of these two?
By 50 miles. Oh! Little Donovan gets the prize. Thank you very much. This is a beautiful model.
Just find the color of the resin. I'm gonna do wine next time. I'm gonna win something.
If you want to do it, then that's fine. Is Drew almost here?
I don't know where Drew is. Is he with Matt, I assume?
Yeah.
I'm just down there getting drunk.
You want a PBR run?
Well, I told them to hurry, and I don't think either of them are right on top. Oh yeah, it's a little while before either of them show up here, so I think I think we can get started.
Tell them the rules of the table, I think.
What?
Well, people might know
A good point. So the way we do it here in Minnesota is that I'm going to read you guys out from first place down to 24th place. First place gets to pick one prize. Second place gets to pick one. Third place, and so on. And then if there's more prizes, then players restart over. So everyone gets to walk away with a little something. That's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do. First place with 20 bad match points and 187 big sit down victory points is going to be Joe.
Add society to the list of crews that don't have to play locally.
With just that one? Just the plaque?
Koi face!
All right.
In your.
In second place with 20 bad match points and 131 victory points is Aaron Cook. In third place with 17 bad match points, we've got Sean. Yeah.
Alright, hey everyone, it's the end of the first day of the Batman tournament, and I have the organizer, Stefan, here. Why don't you tell us how long you've been with the game?
Well, I've been playing for about 5.5 years now, ever since first edition came out, and there was like the Joker starter and the Penguin starter and a couple of Batman.
Like the old PDF book?
Yeah. First edition, there was a board.
I remember that.
Yeah, I started playing out in Denmark back in, I think, 2013. I moved to the US in 2015 and started playing with Adam over here. Just me and him for a while, and today we have a 25-person tournament.
Yeah, this is huge. So this is your third year running it here?
Second year.
Okay.
Renegade, yeah.
And 25 people, and a lot of them are not locals, right? Like, I flew in, but then there's a couple California dudes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, 2 from California, 2 from Maryland, 3 from Omaha, 2 from Chicago, 1 from Wisconsin, and then the rest from Minnesota.
Right. And you've seen all the lists at this point, so do you find the metas are fairly similar, or do you think it's different depending on the region?
I think at least in North America right now, we're pretty similar in our ideas about list building.
Right.
Yeah, I looked at all this. I think 79 lists were submitted for the 2 days, and I didn't see anyone that like broke out of.
Yeah.
trends there. So.
And is this your first time like using the 2-list system for a tournament?
It is my first time using a 2-list. Well, we had one 4-player tournament.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, which was around the start of football season and just before Renegade. So I didn't expect many players. But we have 4. We did the 2-list system there. And so this is the first real big tournament.
For sure. This is probably the second biggest tournament outside of Adepticon, right? So it's a lot of people. Do you find that the 2 lists, did people go for more, how would I say this, like rock, paper, scissors lists, or was it more still all-comers lists in just different ways?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think 2 or 3 players played just with one list, I think just because they didn't have time or didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
And other than that, I think we had 2 or 3 players that submitted 2 lists that were basically identical, switching out, the nth metal medallion or minor things like that. I think when people had read pretty similar lists, they thought about like a regular list they would play and then one that could take on magic.
Right. Is magic still a big thing though? Like I know at least in our meta it was huge when it first came out and then sort of died off. Is that sort of similar?
Yeah, that's the same thing. Magic is still really powerful if you let the magician just do what they want, like Constantine can just turret someone. But with a little bit of placement, ping rolls, bodyguard, bat armor, and whistles and stuff like that, I think Magic has been reeled into a place where it's perfectly balanced, but it's on the opponent to really play against it.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Well, I gotta say thank you for having me come to this event, and you put on a really good show.
Thank you.
Your prize table was amazing.
Thank you.
So yeah, just thanks a lot, Stefan.
Thank you so much for coming.